Hey everyone, I'm Allison.
I'm Bryce,
and we're Better Half Reviews. And today we're talking about the Kickstarter game Reviving Kathmandu from Lemery Games. This is designed by our friends Christina and Thomas.
Reviving Kathmandu is a bidding and set collection game where you are an architect bidding on different materials and trying to build the most beautiful monuments in Nepal. So the architect with the most points at the end of the game wins.
All right, let's check it out. All right, so we have a 4-player setup of the game right here. There are also 2 other colors that you can choose from, but everybody's going to pick a player board and get their cubes and their bidding tokens. You're going to shuffle up these gold cards, and everyone will get 1 and place it on your board. And this just gives you goals to look for to score some extra points in your game. So if you get a Buddha that's either yellow or blue, you get this additional point once. And if you build this up with either an orange or white, you get an additional 2 points. And these don't have colors on them, but they show this like bottom section and top section darkened. So that's saying if these 2 sections are the same color, you get the additional points. And same here. So the gold cards will look similar, but they are all a little bit different. You're going to shuffle up both decks, the blue and the red, and you're going to deal out the blue cards right here. And these are what you're going to be bidding off of. If you are playing a 5 to 6 player game, you will also put cards over here as well. And also, depending on your player count, if you're playing with lower, you'll have some cards that you need to take out of this deck. So what you're going to be doing is bidding on these cards by placing your vote tokens face down. Whoever has the first player token will vote first. So the higher your vote, the more likely you are to get the card that you want. The lower the vote, you're just putting it up to chance. The different type of buildings you can build are Buddha statues, shrines, stupas, and pagodas. So since I have the first player marker, I will get to go first. So I'm going to go ahead and vote, and maybe I'll vote with the number 4 because I'm hoping to get that. So everybody has bid. You're going to flip this over and determine who gets what. So the way that you determine who is the winner is either if you're the only bidder or then going to the higher bidder. And if you're tied, we'll talk about that in just a second. So let's check out here. So I bid right here, so I'm going for this column. Blue is as well, but I have a higher number, so they've already lost. They're not going to get that. And then yellow and red have both gone for this row. And yellow has already beat out red's number. But we have a tie here, so we have a lot of overlap just on this card. And we're both voting for. The tiebreaker is whoever is closest to the card, which we are right next to it. And then the next tiebreaker is whoever's on the long side of the card. So then I would win this bid. So I'll go ahead and collect it. So I've already collected my cards. I'm going to move this off. And when you take back one of your tokens, you're going to put it in the matching spot. And this is just going to show that it's not available next round when you're bidding. So then we're going to follow up. So yellow has 4. They went for this row. This is the only card left, so we'll take it. And then both red and blue are left with no cards in their sections that they bid on. When you're playing the game, though, you're supposed to collect 2 cards every round. So if you don't, so in the case of yellow, they only collected 1 card, or blue and red, they collected none, so you don't feel gypped or anything, you're actually going to draw from this red deck to make up the difference. So red would get 2, blue would get 2, and yellow would get 1. The difference with the red versus blue cards is blue cards will have different buildings top and bottom, but the red cards have just one building type, top and bottom. And then the leftover card, if there are any, goes underneath the red deck. After everyone's collected their card, you're going to move into the building section so you can place cards down. So if you check out here on this little icon, it's highlighted here and it shows that this is the top of this building. And this section is highlighted here showing it's the middle of this type of building. Obviously, if I'm building something, I can't start with the top, I've got to start with the bottom. So I can't use either of these, but if I flip my cards over, this is the bottom section, and this is the very top section. So I can use this card and put down a base to a building. And you'll note that there's different colors like white, green, yellow, etc. This one doesn't have any certain color, but it does have the rainbow underneath. This counts as a wild, so it could be any color. And you can build as many pieces as you want. If you have multiple bases you want to put down or put up the middles of some buildings, that's fine to leave buildings incomplete from round to round. Once everybody is done building, you have to discard back down to 3 cards in your hand. In our case, we only have 1 card left over. So let's say, just for reference, like if I ended up having all these extra cards that I didn't quite want to use yet, I have 4, I need to discard down to 3, so I can put this down in my discard pile, and then we're good to go. And then you continue again and go through the voting process with new cards that are dealt out until you get to the situation where you're left with only 1 token. When you're left with 1 token, you move to a different phase of the game. So when you're left with the situation just with 1 token, you have a couple different options. You can either spend your leftover coin, starting with whoever has the highest coin left. So if mine's 5, I would be going first. And you can convert this over into points. So I could just get 5 straight up points right here. Or I could spend this to get back one of my discarded cards and immediately place it on one of my monuments, which that would complete my monument, which I'll talk about in just a second. As soon as you spend your coin, you place it face up in that last slot on your player board. After all the players are finished, they remove all their coins, and then you'll start again. So this game is played in 8 rounds. You'll be voting 4 times, doing that process of either spending a token to get points or get back a discarded card, and then you'll go through another 4 rounds and do that again. So let's talk about when you complete a building. So this building is complete, and you get the amount of points at the very top. So I'd get 6 points. And you also get bonuses when you have matching colors. So once you have 2 sections that are the same color in a completed building, you get a bonus of 2 points. And for every section after that that matches it, you get an additional 2 points. So we get an additional 4 points for that. And the top card is the score, so this building is worth 6. So 6 plus our 4 bonus points would give us 10 points for this building. So move your little marker over, and there's the 10 marker, and put it back to the 0. If you find it easier to keep track of buildings that are already completed, we usually would tuck them down like this, make them a little bit smaller, or put them off to the side to know that we have already scored them. That's just us though. If you end the game with incomplete buildings, you also have to calculate the score. So if I'm stuck with this at the end of the game, I would get minus a point. But if I built it up halfway, I'd end up getting 2 points. So once you go through another 4 rounds, and then you do another either trade in your token for points or getting a discarded card to put into one of your buildings, you're going to count up your final score with all your buildings and also check out your monuments, and that's when you go through and double check if you've got any of the additional points to add onto your score. And I didn't talk about Buddhas. You get an additional point for them for each different color that you have. This one is a hollow foil. I believe if you were an early backer, you can get a hollow foil pack that will have one of every color in it. If you are playing with 2 players, there's a little bit difference. When you have the cards out here, you actually get to vote twice each time. So your rounds will go a little bit quicker because on the second round, you'll be voting again. And you also need to pick up 4 total cards. So if I voted and got these 2, I would draw an additional 2 cards from the red deck. There are some different variations that may be available in the Kickstarter and some expansion content, but for now, this is the gist of how you play Reviving Kathmandu. Alright, so now that we know a little bit more about how to play the game, let's talk about how we feel about it. First up, this game looks gorgeous. I love how it looks on the table, and the aesthetic of it is just beautiful, beautiful with all the hues of the colors. And I like that the colors have meaning, so the different player colors are picked out from actual colors in Nepal with prayer flags, which I think is a pretty cool way to add in an extra historical context.
Yeah, the first thing that I really noticed was those colors. Yeah, you have the red and the blue and the purple and the yellow, but they're not traditional red and blue.
Mm-hmm. Or the teal color too.
Yeah, that comes in every game. They're different hues, and I really like that. I think they look really nice.
Yeah, it makes it stand out a little bit compared to other games using similar colors. And it just looks really cool, and I love the components of this game. This is a prototype, but this is the deluxeified version of the game in prototype format. So just everything looks good, feels good. I love all the pieces, the dual layer boards for the deluxe version. and the neoprene mat. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a bit more about how we feel about like the actual gameplay.
So I think bidding is really interesting because you can bid on like the horizontal or the
Vertical?
vertical. I guess I got this mixed up. I don't know.
The long way and the short way.
sides of the cards, and depending on where you bid, you can either have an advantage if you tie or a disadvantage, and just going for different cards. I thought that was very unique, and how they expanded the bidding for more players was also very unique. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I thought it, like, because I mean, there's a decent amount of bidding games out there, and that's not really always my jam, but the way that they did this with, based on where you put it, and the numbers, and what side of the card, yeah, I thought that was really intriguing, and it made interesting choices. Even for the 2-player game, it changes up where you get to vote twice. So it's just very interesting to kind of see what happens. You flip it over, and you're like, oh no, he's gonna take the card I want, and then he doesn't. And you're like, sweet.
Or you're like, okay, I know she didn't put her highest number down, but she's on the long side of the card. Let me put a higher number on the short side of the card. And even though if we tied number-wise, it would be disadvantage, I know I have a higher number, so I'm going to steal that card from her.
Yeah, I like that you have some hidden information with what numbers you're actually putting down, but there is a lot of open information of what cards they have out on the table, what they're trying to build, and you also know what tokens they've already used. So it's like, okay, are they going to use their 4 now, or are they going to maybe keep that later to turn in for points or try to buy a card back? It's just very well thought out.
Another thing that I do like is even if you don't get the cards that you want, or someone outbids you and you end up with 0 cards, there's that card catch-up mechanic.
Yes.
So I found that, even though I wasn't bidding on specific cards, sometimes I got some really great cards in this card catch-up. I mean, you don't know what you're getting, but sometimes there were some really good draws.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily a bad thing that you don't get any cards in the bid.
No. That's where it adds a little bit of luck to it because you don't know what you're getting, but I appreciated that because, in other games where it's like, oh, I got to pick this first, oh, I have the next highest or something, and someone else gets it, and you're like, oh, great, thanks, I got this one lily card I didn't even want. You're not stuck with just one card. You make up the difference with these. So I appreciated that where it felt like you're always getting something, and you had choices and things to choose from.
Mm-hmm. Or, if you didn't like the options on the board, throw down some of your lowest tokens, get rid of them for the next round. Get rid of those so you have the higher numbers for the next round.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, sure, you're risking it, but you didn't want the cards on the table anyway.
Yeah, but generally you can kind of figure out something to do and something to hold on to, and it made it interesting where you can only keep 3 cards at the end of your turn, and so you have to discard some. But there was one game where I had a card, and I'm like, I really want to use this, but I just wasn't getting the rest of the building to use it, so I discarded it because I'm like, maybe it'll come up later and I can pay and buy that card back. Well, I forgot about one little rule where whoever has when you're doing the turnover with the tokens, it's whoever has the highest number token gets to go first, and you can buy from other people's discard piles. I forgot about that. And so my perfect plan of, I got the cards I finally needed, I can pick it up, I can buy it. So I was like, I'm going to buy this. And Russ is like, no, I go first. And I'm like, okay. And then he goes and takes my card. And he cost me so many points because it was one of my goals, and I was so mad.
I needed it.
I know. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
I needed it too. But anyway, so it's overall very zen, but you can have moments like that, but I feel like that's less common to be like stealing the one card you need right when you need it at the very end of the game situation. Anyway, I don't have any hard feelings about that.
Not at all, of course.
Nope. Did I win that game anyway, though?
I don't know, but I slept on the couch that night.
I think I won, actually. Maybe. Anyway, besides that, I want to talk about the rulebook. So one thing that I like that Lemery Games has done, so this is part of their Globetrotter series. They did Chili Mafia first, and it comes in like a little travel box, and it magnetizes. And since it's a travel box based off of the travels that they go around, the rulebook is a passport. And I love that idea. It keeps things small and concise, and even in the back they have like a little Visa page when you can like stamp it if you want. So I just love how they make it just kind of tie in with their theme. So it's traveling, and just a quick little note to attention to detail. Their previous game, Chili Mafia, was based in Mexico. And on the back of this, you have a little ticket stub that says you're going from Mexico to Kathmandu in Nepal. So it's like you're traveling to the next thing. So rulebook and box, just awesome. I'm going to tell you one more thing that I'm going to gloat about because I love it. They take the time to put this on the side of the box where it says, you know, if it's family to gamer friendly or luck to strategy, calm to energetic, and they have little markers to show you. And I love that you can like pick it up and be like, yeah, this is more my jam, and you know right away what you're gonna get inside the box.
I think more games should do that, honestly.
Yes.
I thought that was very interesting.
I actually took a poll on that on Instagram, and most people were like, I've never seen that before, and I want to see that. Like 60% of people were like, I want to see more of this. So good on you, Lemery Games. Okay, so let's talk about if we have any cons to the game. So far, I only really thought of one, kind of, ish. So there's been some games where we played and it felt like it was taking forever to find certain pieces of a certain building. I forget. Buddha Shrine. No, Pagoda Shrine. Stupa. I think, whatever, it doesn't matter which building it was. But we were not getting the dome part of this building the entire game. And I had all the perfect pieces for the other things to have it all color-coded. I just needed one more piece. And I couldn't find it, whether it was in the blue deck or the red deck, until like the end of the game. And it's like, finally I can build it.
And then she discards it.
No, I had already discarded the top.
I was kidding.
Anyway, whatever. So I feel like one of my cons is like sometimes you may not see the cards that you need throughout the bulk of the game. You do go through a lot of cards. Maybe it just came down to like bad shuffling. I don't know. I shuffled it a lot, but that was one of my cons that I could think of where it was just hard to find certain cards.
Yeah.
And you're kind of stuck.
I agree. Like, there was one game where I was just like, I keep getting all these pagoda cards, and I built like a ton of pagodas, but I was sitting with, from the beginning of the game, a shrine with the color that I needed, and I was like, oh, cool, like if I build a shrine with this color, I'm going to get bonus points, and I sat there the whole game, and I couldn't get the other part of the shrine. And I'm like, this only requires 2 cards, and I've had one for the whole game. Where's the other card? So, yeah, I don't know why.
Maybe there's just some offhanded games that we had every once in a while. But then again, you could also put that up to strategy where it's like, you do need that, but you can only keep 3 cards. So it's like, do you discard it and hope that you can get it back later and hope that someone else doesn't take it? Or do you just hold on to it the whole game? I don't know. So, I don't know. That's kind of the only thing I could think of. Other than that, I love like everything about this game.
Yeah, it's a very solid game.
I liked Chili Mafia, their first game in the Globetrotter series. I love Kathmandu. It's zen. It's got some strategy without being too like overthinking, and a little bit of luck just to kind of help you feel good about yourself with getting extra cards. It just feels like you can always do something, and it's just beautiful to look at, and it's just a good game to pull out anytime.
Yeah, I agree. I like this game more than Chili Mafia as well. Chili Mafia is great, but I like this game a lot too. It's a good balance of luck and strategy, and sitting with a card in your hand the whole game and waiting for the one card you need.
It doesn't happen every time.
I know, but it felt like it. And there it is right now. That's the card I needed.
He doesn't have any hard feelings at all. Right?
Right. Oh,
right.
Look, that's the other part of it.
How convenient. But yeah, no, I highly recommend this game. It says that it's geared more towards the family side than gamer side, and I agree with that, but we're both board gamers, and this is a great one to pull out. Even on like a weekday, it doesn't take too long to play it, like 20 to 40 minutes, if that.
I can see how the betting part of it might be a little confusing.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't play this with like young children. I'd play it with a little bit older.
Yeah, I think if I were to say the betting part of it is probably the most confusing part of it, that takes it like out of the family and pushes it a little more towards gamer.
A little bit, and that's probably just in the strategy. And it takes a little bit to get used to what cards you're using for the buildings to like keep track of everything. But I love that, and I probably should have talked about this in the pro section, but I didn't, and so I am now. They have little icons here to show you what type of building it is, and then they highlight what section of the building this piece is. So that really helped, like, oh, okay, I've got the top piece, so now I need the middle piece and the bottom piece. It helped you like keep track of everything a little bit better. They didn't have to do that, but I very much appreciated that they did.
Yeah, like while you could just navigate the pieces based off of the shape here,
Which would be harder.
it would be hard. I do appreciate that they put the little map on the corner of like, this piece is the top.
Yeah.
And while the tops are different and you can tell the difference between them, I mean, it's nice that you can see the rest of the building and what you need.
It just helped with the ease of play, and it was much appreciated. So we pretty much gloated a lot about this game. We love how it looks, we love how it plays, I love how it feels, I just love everything about it. If you are interested in this, I will put a link in the description below where you can click on the Kickstarter and check it out.
This has been Better Half Reviews. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'm Bryce.
I'm Allison.
Say happy gaming.
Happy gaming.
Have fun.
Said it backwards, okay?
I know.
So, are you done, Mr. Piano Man?
Yeah.
Hey, do you want to go to Nepal?
Yeah. I want to...
We've got a ticket right here. We just need to get to Mexico first, and then we can get there.
It's upside down.
All bad. Stop playing with the tokens.
It's a game. You play with games.
I'm trying to talk about the game, not play with the game. So play us a song, you're the piano man.
Piano man.
Well, it's because like how they say it, piano man, like, you know.
I'm the pianist.
No, the piano man.
Oh, yes.
3 is a magic number. This is only good for 1 ticket, so I think you'll have to buy your own. I'll take this ticket. Will this passport work?
No, but...
I'll just put my picture in it.
I'm sure the ticket I buy will.
Fine.
PG,
Okay.
Allison, PG.
Procter and Gamble. So play us a song, you're the piano man.
Piano man.